What's going on, everybody? Welcome in to another one of these random live stream things. We have never done one of these before until this week, and now we're doing two in 1 week. It's crazy how that works, but yeah, we're here and we're doing this, and yeah, this is not structured or anything like the usual shows. This is just something that I can come in and share some of the little things that I won't necessarily be able to get to during live shows and stuff like that. So, yeah, not going to be anything super crazy structured or long or anything like that. Just want to go over a few things to make sure everybody is up to date. So, hopefully everything is working. Hopefully you guys can see and hear me, and we should be good to go. I can just never find the right place for this thing. Keep messing with it. It's a habit. Anyways, how's everybody doing? Hopefully everybody's doing all right. It's interesting doing these things on different days at different times because I can see different names in here than I normally do. Like KCJJM is here, J-Rod Sum is here, and I saw a couple other people as well that I don't normally get to see. So good to see you guys, and hopefully everybody's doing all right. You guys can hear me and see me. Good stuff. All right, but yeah, so this is just it's been a long time. Yeah, I remember your name, J-Rod, but it's definitely, I have not seen you in a very long time. So, just kind of a flashback there, but good to see you, man. But yeah, so it's just kind of free form and stuff like that. If you have questions or anything like that, just throw it in. And if I see it, I'll just kind of interact with you guys and stuff like that. So it's just kind of relaxed a little bit. Got a new job. Well, congratulations. Hopefully you like the job, and hopefully it provides what you need. Granny Janny. How we doing, Granny Janny? Coming in with the smile, the big smile. Did you just get your teeth cleaned? Good to see you. Anyways, hopefully everybody's doing all right. So, yeah, let's just kind of go ahead and get into some of the stuff. I got a few things, and I'll just kind of go through it so you guys that are up to date. Yeah, Saturday, there's so much stuff that I've been seeing that's not involved with the war that we were going to get to some of that on Tuesday. We just didn't have time because we were covering so much. So Saturday, I plan on doing a whole thing about stuff that's not connected to the war that we need to be aware of. So I'm just trying to make sure that you guys are up to date on all this stuff as well. Psalm 125, good to see you. From South Yorkshire. Good to see you. Timo, man, good to see you guys. I never get to see you in the live streams, but I know you're there, and I appreciate you guys and your prayers and your support. You guys are awesome. Great to see you in the chat, Timo, and Helen's there as well. So good to see you guys. Thank you for being here. That's awesome. That's cool. I don't get to normally see you guys. All right, let's do this, shall we? All right, Rosina Hockey's here. Stumble on here. Apparently don't have notifications on. Well, it would be because YouTube still, we're going on 2 months. YouTube is shadow banning my channel. They're not sending out notifications. They're not letting people know new videos and live streams. They're unsubscribing people. It's, 2 months now YouTube has been shadow banning me, and it's, that's probably why. All right, so let's just go ahead and start off with this, and 2 weeks to curb the spread, right? That's what we're told. So we got this. It says U.S. Central Command, meanwhile, is asking the Pentagon to send more military intelligence officers to its headquarters in Tampa, Florida, to support operations against Iran for at least 100 days, but likely through September. So initially, this was supposed to be a weekend job of 48 hours. Then it turned into 1 week. Then it turned into 2 weeks. Then we were hearing 4 to 5 weeks. Then, was it 2 days ago, Hegseth came out and said 8 weeks. And now we're looking at least 100 days, possibly through September. So they're expecting this war to go through September. They're preparing for this thing to go through September. So what was supposed to be 2 days has now become almost, geez, how many months is that? Do the math. So this is where we're at. It says it's the first known call for additional intelligence personnel for the Iran war by the administration, and a sign that the Pentagon is already allocating funds for operations that may stretch long beyond Trump's initial 4-week timeline for the conflict. The rush to add people and resources to support efforts that are often organized well in advance of the U.S. military action highlights how the Trump team had not fully anticipated the wide fallout of the war and launched alongside Israel on Saturday. So here we go. You know, it's interesting because it's one of those things where we were promised we're not going to have any new wars. Then all of a sudden we are having new wars, and Trump said it's not going to be a forever war. And then now all of a sudden it just keeps extending. Every day it's extending to get a little bit longer. So welcome to it, everybody. Welcome to it. This is the world we live now when it comes to this. Yeah. Doc, 7 months. Yep. Good stuff. Trey Severs, weren't we supposed to leave with Purim? Yeah, that's why it was only supposed to be 48 hours, because it was supposed to end before the beginning of Purim, because then they were supposed to celebrate Purim on top of the Iranian situation. Now look at what's going on. Again, it was one of those things where we don't necessarily know, but it's either these people were stupid and couldn't figure out truly how advanced Iran is, or this is a part of the plan for something much greater, which we need to wait and see if that actually unfolds into that way. So, yeah, this is it's crazy. It's absolutely crazy. Anyways, so we got that going on in regards to that. Timo, we always watch a day later. Grateful we're with the other Misfits now. Yeah, I'm so glad you're able to join in, Timo. So that's awesome. Appreciate to have you. Glad you guys are here. Leela Woodwitch, weren't wars used as economic recovery stimulus in the past? Yeah, it's a way to bring in the flow of money, because your kick. I gotta move this real quick. There we go. You're kickstarting the production and whatnot, supposed to help in that way, but it appears there might be something alongside this. Maybe this is part of the reset that they plan on doing. That's just speculation. We don't necessarily know. But yeah, there's a lot going on there with that. Plus, we have this. Trump says he wants to be involved in picking Iran's next leader as war ripples across the region. So, of course, here's Trump coming out saying, well, I need to pick this leader too, because that's what I'm doing now. I'm the all-powerful emperor here, and I get to go around, blow up everybody's countries, and install leaders that I want to be in there. So now Trump is actually saying that he wants to handpick the leader, saying that he has ruled out Majapa Khamenei, the son who is alive. It was first reported that he was dead, but he appears to be alive. But Trump is ruling him out to be the leader. But again, it's not his call in regards to that. So pretty interesting that, of course, he's sticking his nose in that. Now we got this. This is something we should definitely read between the lines on. So satisfied with their results, okay? Israel and the U.S. are preparing to downshift in attacks on Iran. Israel and the U.S. expressed satisfaction with the results so far in the attacks on Iran, but there's an understanding that it is not possible to continue attacking at an unprecedented high rate intensity over time. Therefore, the armies of both countries are preparing for a downshift in order to continue attacking over time as necessary. What's the reports and the inventory tallies that we've been seeing regarding specifically defensive weapons for the United States? We're running dangerously low. We were low last summer of last year, and now we're at the point of, well, we're satisfied with what we've done, so we need to go ahead and stop launching as much stuff as we've been doing. Not because we're running out of inventory. No. It has nothing to do with that. It just has to do with we're satisfied with what we're doing. Even though we're still getting reports of precision strikes from Iran, the Strait of Hormuz is pretty much closed still. We got drones flying all over the Gulf countries and everything like that. And plus the reports of the United States looking to bring in weaponry from all around the world from their stockpiles because they don't have enough in the stockpile that they currently have. So we're definitely seeing a read between the lines moment. And again, this is coming from inside Israel as far as this report goes. So again, I don't know, because it's not wise to just stay one way or the other unless we know for sure. So we don't know if they truly underestimated Iran, which has the territorial advantage, and they've been preparing for war for 40 years now. If they underestimated them, or if this is actually planned to go the way that it's going right now, I don't necessarily know. There's factors that says yes this way and no that way, and no, yes this way and no that way. So we don't really know when it comes to that. But either way, I do believe that the reports that our defensive weapons capability running low is true. I do believe that appears to be a problem. Then we have this coming from the Times of Israel. Israel didn't think Hezbollah would join the fighting at the current intensity, Israeli officials said to admit. So, again, now we're at a point where it appears that maybe Israel and the United States weren't quite ready for Iran, and now Israel's admitting that they weren't quite ready for the attacks Hezbollah has been putting forward. That one's interesting, because you would think that Israel would be well aware of the Hezbollah situation because of how much intelligence they have and how many conflicts that they have with them. So that's kind of an interesting admittance here. It says a senior Israeli official acknowledges that Israel misjudged Hezbollah's decision-making after the terror group joined the fighting alongside Iran, Channel 13 reports. And this is fascinating because this is coming from a very pro-political Israel source. So it's interesting what's being applied on that one. Leo Woodrich, ammo shortage, then the consumer will take the financial hit. If you aren't stocked up, it's going to keep going. Well, this isn't ammo. This is defensive interceptors. So this isn't like rounds of ammunition or anything like that. So it's not quite like that. It's different. Terry Petty saw something about U.S. having a secret 0-point energy weapon. Anyone know what that is? We have something similar that I know for sure. We have something similar to what Israel has with their, I don't remember what it's called, but it's their defensive laser weapon that shoots down incoming missiles and rockets and stuff like that. The United States has one of those. And the United States also has a rail gun as well. Those are energy-based weapons, one being defensive, one being offensive. So I don't know if that's what you're referring to. Anything beyond that, I don't know of anything that's been confirmed with that. Keep in mind, though, back in the day, Nikola Tesla had demonic blueprints to build a massive super weapon, which is an energy laser from space. So, and that's not storybook. That's legit. It's part of the demonic blueprints that he received from the Council of Nine when he was channeling these demons. So, pretty interesting. Maybe they built that, but I can't confirm that. So, let's see here. Bryce Hagan's directed energy weapon, the DO weapons. Yeah, again, that's one of those things. Israel has confirmed that they have that, but it's one of those things that we don't have an actual confirmed report of it in action. There's speculation, ton of speculation. People say that the Lahaina thing was directed energy weapon. We don't know that for sure. People are just saying that it is. They're saying stuff all around the world is the directed energy weapons, but we can't confirm it. So we don't know in regards to that. And I'm sorry. I know a lot of people disagree with on my position of it, but I like to be able to go with something that I can confirm being true before I start accusing that thing of being involved with stuff. So it's just, that's how I go in regards to that. Proton Girls, military still using Anthropic. I'm going to get to that on Saturday. That was something that I was going to touch on Tuesday. We didn't have time. So we'll get to that on Saturday, and I'll be able to go spend a little bit of time on it. So I'll be able to explain that to you on that one. Yeah, it's a twisty turn story with the Anthropic situation. So, all right. But yeah, so a senior Israeli official acknowledges Israel misjudged Hezbollah's decision-making, and he says, "We were mistaken about Hezbollah. We didn't think that they would fire at these ranges." The official is quoted as saying, after Hezbollah sent 5 rockets towards Israel's center earlier today in an attack that occurred with the launch of ballistic missiles from Iran. Most of Hezbollah's rockets and drones in recent days have been targeted northern Israeli communities. And we also have the situation now with Lebanon. Israel is boots on the ground in Lebanon. We talked about that on Tuesday. Yeah, Tuesday. And they're moving further into Lebanon now. They got the southern part. Now they're moving further into Lebanon. And there's a lot of bomb strikes in civilian centers in Lebanon right now. So this is everything that's going on right now is just targeting civilian stuff, whether it's in Israel, whether it's Gulf states, whether it's in Iran. It's just they're hitting civilian places everywhere. There is a lot of deaths currently happening of just innocent lives. Yeah. Country Darling, did Zach mention the aliens? No, I mentioned Nikola Tesla channeling the Council of Nine for demonic blueprints of stuff. I went over that stuff in the Aliens and Demons series. So if you want to know more about that. Evan Harmon, Aleister Crowley is the reason we even have Greys and aliens in the media. Not quite, dude. Not quite. Go check out my Aliens and Demons series. I break it down. He had his own demon, but he's not his own demon, which is portrayed as an alien, but he's not the reason for it. No. Go check that out. I go over all the in-depth stuff regarding that. So, yeah, DDX son-in-laws and their Air Force. There's a lot of misfits with family. That's over there. That's why I always say, please continue to keep not only the military people in prayer, but also praying for everybody over there that they receive salvation in case something does happen. It doesn't even, not even if something happens, but receive Jesus before something does happen, but just receives Jesus in general. Again, the Lord does not want anyone to perish, and that includes even those who hate the Israelis. He doesn't even want them to perish. So pray that they receive Jesus quickly. Evan Harmon, Dan goes even further. Yeah. If you have not seen the Aliens and Demons series, go check it out. I go over all that stuff. Where those demons and aliens come from, the different factions of them, connections to Nazism, connections to the Eisenhower situation. Yeah, all that stuff. So go check that out. It's free. It's on YouTube. 8-part series. Good stuff. Yes, amen. This is the mission for all. Exactly. Please continue to be praying for them. All right. Let's go ahead and move to the next thing. Again, we don't want to be here forever. We got this. Spain's government denies cooperating with the U.S. operations in the Mideast, contradicting the White House. So again, the White House was caught lying again. It says, moments after a White House spokesperson said that the Spanish government in Madrid had agreed to help the United States, Spanish Foreign Minister Jose Manuel Alvarez came out and flatly denied that the European government had changed its position. He says, I can refute the White House spokesperson. Alvarez told Spanish radio station Cadena Ser, the position of the Spanish government regarding the war in the Middle East, the bombing of Iran, and the use of our bases has not changed one iota. So the White House put out a thing that says Spain is going to allow the United States military to use their air bases for airstrikes in Iran. And then 45 minutes later, the Spanish foreign minister comes out and says the White House is lying through their teeth. We never said that. We did not agree to that. And we have not changed our stance. We're not getting involved. And so, again, proving that the White House and the Trump administration and the United States government as a whole is a bunch of liars. So just crazy. Again, people still believe this guy. They still believe this United States government. Everything that comes out, they take his word as face value because they believe, they've been trained, they've been brainwashed into believing that he's not a globalist. When he's just another puppet like the rest of them. They can't seem to figure that out. We also have this. Blackout across Iraq sparks panic. U.S. Embassy tells nationals to leave ASAP. Iraq has been plunged in a complete nationwide power outage, leaving millions in darkness and triggering urgent international concern. Iraq's Ministry of Electricity confirmed that the entire country is suffering from a total blackout, with the national power grid collapsing across all provinces. According to the Iraqi news agency INA, the ministry stated that the power grid has completely shut down in all provinces of the country, marking one of the most sweeping infrastructure failures in recent memory. So Iraq has been blacked out now. The consensus from Proton, this was yesterday. It says 4 hours ago that was updated, but yeah, it was yesterday, March 4th. I believe that most of Iraq is still blacked out. And the consensus I'm seeing from a whole wide array of reports from all across the Middle East is this is the United States that did this, not Iran. So that's curious to see what's going to happen or what is happening underneath the blackout of Iraq that the United States is doing right now. So who knows? Maybe this is their way of trying to find an entrance into Iran, which I can't even begin to tell you that if the United States does put boots on the ground, which they have not ruled out, and a lot of things seem to indicate that they may do that, the territory in Iran, there's going to be a lot of Americans that will die because there's no way that they're going to be able to handle that terrain that's over there. People don't realize just how deadly those mountains are that fills Iran. So this is going to be interesting, to say the least. But yeah, it's just catastrophe all the way around. Then we've got this pulling in even more. This is Azerbaijani troops reportedly deployed to Iranian border as conflict rages. This was March 3rd. So they deployed a couple days ago to the border of Iran. And Azerbaijani troops have reportedly been put on combat alert and deployed to the border with Iran. The independent media outlet Kwazeki has reported, citing sources, the move comes as the U.S.-Israel war against Iran entered its fourth day, with countries across the region being drawn into the fighting. So this was on the 3rd, March 3rd. Then today, Azerbaijan says 4 injured by Iranian drones, vows to retaliate. Let's see if I can get this video to play here. You can see the drone coming in, boom. This is in Azerbaijan that this just happened. Iran's saying that wasn't us. I want you to hang on to that because there's a couple other things I'm going to show you that Iran is saying that's not us. And if you know anything about Iran, if they're doing something, they're going to take credit for it if it's successful. And so if they're saying that's not us, makes you wonder. It says Azerbaijan was preparing unspecified retaliatory measures on Thursday after it said 4 Iranian drones had crossed its borders and injured 4 people in the Nakhchivan enclave, raising concerns about further spillover from the conflict in the Middle East. We will not tolerate this unprovoked act of terror and aggression against Azerbaijan. The armed forces have been instructed to prepare and implement appropriate retaliatory measures. President Ilham Aliyev told a meeting at his Security Council. Iranian Deputy Foreign Minister Kazim Garibabadi, I think that's how you pronounce that, denied that Tehran had targeted Azerbaijan. Now, there's been a lot of funky stuff happening that seems to be being put on the shoulders of Iran, and Iran is coming out not claiming any of it. They're saying, well, that's not us. You know it's us. You know when it's us. But a lot of this stuff is saying, and there's a lot of people in the Gulf and in European countries saying that it's not Iran. including this Shahed-type drone that hit British airbase in Cyprus was not launched from Iran, says UK Defense Ministry. So the UK Defense Ministry is saying that the drones that attacked us in Cyprus, even though the United States and Israel is saying that it was Iran, we're saying it's not. We're saying it's somebody else, that these weren't from Iran. The Iranian-made drone had hit a runway of the Royal Air Force in Akrotiri, which is reportedly the first attack in the military facility in Cyprus since 1986. The UK Ministry of Defense has stated that the Shahed-type drone that targeted British Royal Air Force base of Akrotiri in Cyprus was not launched from Iran. And this is their post from the Ministry of Defense in the UK. It says the Ministry of Defense can confirm that a Shahed-type drone targeted RAF Akrotiri at midnight on March 2nd was not launched from Iran. They're confirming that this isn't Iran. Now, it could be one of their proxy groups, maybe, like Hezbollah or some other group. There's a whole bunch of those proxies over there. I can't remember all the names of them. But it's possible, but it didn't come from Iran, though. It would come from somewhere else. But where would it come from? Well, if we keep going, that was not the one that I wanted to pull up. Where is it? Here it is. This is the one I wanted. I had those out of order. Not all attacks on Gulf states coming from Iran, prominent Saudi Arabian editor suggests. So now even Saudi Arabian reporters are saying that the attacks on the Gulf states aren't even from Iran. It says Independent Arabia's Adwoon al-Amari raises concern that Gulf states could be left open in confrontation with Iran after U.S. leaves. So it says the editor-in-chief of Independent Arabia suggests in a television interview on Tuesday that not all attacks on the Gulf states may be coming from Iran, and that the U.S. and Israel could lure them into the war only to later abandon them. Adwan al-Amari, a Saudi journalist and political analyst, highlighted that with Riyadh-based Ashkar News, the numerous unverified claims of false flags attacks. Some believe this war is an American-Israeli trap to implicate the Gulf countries and draw them into a confrontation with Iran, Amari says. So you got drone strikes in Azerbaijan, who had not even been involved with this thing until it happened, and Iran is saying that wasn't us. Then you have the drone strikes on the British airbase in Cyprus, and Iran says that wasn't us. And then the UK Defense Ministry comes out and says that didn't come from Iran. And now you have a Saudi reporter alongside a different news agency saying that many attacks on the Gulf states aren't Iranian. They're false flags to draw these countries into attacking Iran. So there seems to be a lot of pushing towards the idea that the United States and Israel are actually launching these things to try and draw these countries into the war to attack Iran, which some people might vehemently reject that idea, saying there's no way that Israel and the United States would ever do that. They're the good guys. Well, I can sit here and tell you that this would be just like things that they've done all throughout history in the past in order to manipulate other countries to go along with agendas that they have putting forward. So this is pretty interesting news development on that. Let's see here. Proton, so is this going to be psych aspect of war? This could definitely be a part of the false flag agenda in order to try and make this thing explode even bigger, draw more countries into attacking Iran and moving the agenda forward that way. Kaz B, Saved by Grace, if they know that they're not from Iran, why don't they know where it's coming from? Well, because these things, they're drones. They can see the direction that they're coming in and everything like that. And so if a drone's coming in from a different spot, or they see something from satellite imagery from the country of Iran, and then all of a sudden the drone comes out from a different spot and hits them, then it's pretty clear that it's not coming from there. They have all that different type of intelligence. And that's the other thing to keep in mind too, is the United Kingdom, and I'm glad you brought this up, Casby, because the United Kingdom, if it was, say, a drone launch from United States spot or from Israel or something like that, they wouldn't ever point the finger at them saying it was from there. So when they're saying it didn't come from Iran, then they may know where it's coming from, but they're not going to say where it's coming from either. And so there's a chance that they're protecting something like that, protecting their friends in that case. So it's interesting. Doc, Zach, how would the U.S. get Iranian drones? Russia, Ukraine, they've got Iranian drones because the drone, how it happened is these Shahed drones were developed by Iran, sent over to Russia. Russia upgraded them, started using them in the Ukraine, and then Russia sent the upgrades back to Iran. So the people who have control of these drones are Iran, Russia, and Ukraine. Both Russia and Ukraine would be able to get United States, be able to get these drones to the United States. The narrative would say otherwise, but the truth of the matter, knowing how close Trump is to Putin, says that's very much a possibility. Country Darling, does Iran have ICBMs? Yes, they do. Yes, they do. I think they've fired a couple so far, but they have not actually started launching them. But yes, they do have a few of them. See here. Timo, anybody keeping an eye at Babylon? Yeah, nothing's touched Babylon right now. And they can't do much now with the power being off and stuff, but they're still in full build-up mode right now. Tyree, what is the actual point of all of this in your opinion? I don't necessarily know the point of it. I don't really have even an opinion to give you an idea. The only thing that I know of that I see being for sure is this is an opportunity to get leadership in Iran that will be a part of the prophetic events that'll happen in the future. Because the Khamenei, the Ayatollah Khamenei that was in there, he was moderate. He was not, there's no way that he was going to participate in the coming prophecies that Iran's going to be a part of. So the leadership that's coming in, I believe that that's for sure going to happen. And the people, the names that I'm seeing being passed around are bloodthirsty and ready to start going at it. So, Bab, the Larry Ellison thing, I'll talk about that on Saturday. Yeah, I'll talk about that on Saturday. There's a lot to that. It's not just simple. There's a lot there. Yeah. Again, this is one of those things. The stuff that I see, all the videos and stuff that I see out there is this is the reason why the Iran war is happening. This is the truth for the war in the Middle East. And I'm seeing just all these videos and stuff, and I'm sitting there looking at them, and I'm going, you idiots have no idea what's going on. I don't know what's going on. None of us know what's going on. This is... drop my pen. This is beyond our ability to be able to determine what this is actually for. And so all these people that claim that they know the truth and the reason why, and this is why this is happening, they don't. They're just coming up with a theory and presenting it for everybody because it's clickbait. It's sensationalism. It allows subscribers and monetization and sales and paywalls, and it gets all these people on there. So they don't know what they're talking about. I don't know what all this is about. I'm just bringing you what I can confirm, what is actually going on, and then just making sure that you guys are up to date on all this stuff. Michael, we're not even going there. Again, there's a war happening on the prophecy side regarding, is this Zechariah 49? And it's like, just, I'm not even going there. We're not happening. So, yeah. All right, let's keep this going. Got a couple more things here. We got this coming out of South Korea. It says U.S. allies in the Gulf are in flames. Can Korea avoid a similar fate? If the U.S. were to strike major Chinese cities with jets launched from Korea, it would not be Washington that erupts in smoke and death. It would be Seoul and Incheon. This is something, a trend that I'm starting to see. All the countries that are allied with the United States right now, there's a lot of reports coming out saying that the United States will abandon them in their time of need. They will use, abuse, and throw them away at the drop of a hat. And the Gulf states are coming to that conclusion now. There's a lot of people in the Gulf states saying that the United States actually doesn't care about us. We're not actually allied with the United States. They're using us, which it's true. Now we got South Korea that's coming out and saying the United States isn't allied with us. They're using us. And if they go and do the same thing in Korea that they're doing in the Gulf states, we're next. We're the ones that'll start getting hit. And so a lot of the countries that are appearing to be allied with the United States are all starting to realize that they actually don't care about them. And it's true. The United States does not care about any of them. Especially since we know the United States is more inclined to be teamed up with the power heads right now, and they're using, abusing, and throwing away everybody else that they don't care about. And so this is becoming a pretty common theme that I'm starting to see when it comes to reporters and people in countries that are allied with the United States. So this could definitely play a part in the future geopolitical shifts coming up. Doc, Zach, why didn't the United States and Israel keep fighting in June rather now than restart in March? One of the things that I know for sure is, one, they were running out of defensive measures back then. Again, that's why our stockpile is so low now, is because they were running out of them back then. A lot of the information regarding our depleted stockpiles comes from back in June of last year. So that's one of the reasons why. There's another reason why, but it just slipped my mind. I just forgot. Just forgot what I was going to say, and I can't remember what it was. I'll see if it comes back to mind again, Doc. But there's another reason why too. But one has to do with stockpiles. Possibly just prepping things for now, for the stage that we're on now. But there's another reason, but it just slipped my mind. I forgot why. I can't keep track of everything. Let's see. Bryce is, sure seems like the world could erupt in the World War. I don't necessarily see that happening. I don't think a world war is what we're going to see right now. I could be wrong, but if you're asking my perspective, my opinion, I don't think that this will evolve into a world war. I don't think so. I think this will be possibly used for shifts, geopolitical shifts that are about to happen. Under the war, I don't know if anybody saw this. The United States went into Ecuador. That just happened. The United States ran a special mission in Ecuador, and the United States is getting ready to take Cuba. And this could be used, this energy issue, which we'll get to in a second, energy issue could be used for Russia to get Ukraine and get that whole situation rolling over there. So I don't see a world war happening with this, though. Just my perspective. Proton is getting a little more serious. Oh, yeah, it's getting serious. It's definitely serious. Trying to get to as many of your questions as I can, guys. full of hope. Does anyone know if the strategic oil reserves were ever replenished? No, they were not. No, they were not. Trump left them sitting completely empty, never refilled them, even though he had people begging for him to refuel the SPR. He did not do it. And so our oil reserves here in the United States are extremely depleted. They were never refilled. Yeah. DDX, does any of the governments care about their citizens? No. They do not. We're used as pawns and peasants for the kings. They do not care about any of them. Julie H., do you think that this will push us out of power, making Iran bigger, stronger than us? I don't think this... This is kind of an interesting situation because people talk about like, well, is Iran more powerful than the United States? Is the United States more powerful than Iran? It's two completely different military styles and powers. So if you're just talking about brute strength and technology, and if you placed them in an open field, pretty sure the United States would win. But in the case of Iran and the territory in the Middle East, I think Iran's got the advantage. So it's not black or white on that one. But we do know in the future, according to scripture, that doesn't necessarily mean it has to happen now, but we do know in the future that Iran plays a major role in a huge prophetic event that'll happen in post-rapture. So we do know that that's going to happen. So Iran is going to withstand this. They're not going to be crushed. They're not going to come out weak. They're still going to be strong, and they're going to play a future situation in the future. And we do know that the United States, even though some people like to shoehorn the United States into prophecy, the United States is not mentioned in there. That means we become so insignificant. That doesn't mean we're wiped off the face of the earth, but we become so insignificant that we're not even worth mentioning. And so that, again, that doesn't necessarily mean that that will occur because of what is happening now, but we do know in the future that those two powers will take their positions according to scripture. So that's that's why this is so interesting to watch, because again, we don't know what's going to happen, but we do know what's going to happen in the future. So, Proton Girl question. So, a way to tighten the hemisphere, perhaps? Yeah, that I've heard the idea that this is a way for the Middle East to make way for the power shift over there. It doesn't seem to be going quite as planned, if that was the case. So, okay, let's get to a few of these things here. We got this. Iran strikes U.S. military communications infrastructure in the Mideast. Satellite images shows damage near vital equipment on sites in at least 5 countries. So one of the things at the very beginning, Iran targeted U.S. military infrastructure, specifically their communication and radar systems, which takes out the ability for communication, takes out real-time geographic satellite imagery, takes out interceptor radar systems for all that. And so Iran was very pinpoint when it came to taking out very high-tech, highly classified U.S. infrastructure. Yeah, destroyed satellite communication terminals. They were pinpoint. They had the information on all of this stuff. And so they were very, very precise in taking out United States military infrastructure over there, which is why, even though the United States is saying that they have air superiority over Iran, they don't. They had to re-equip the United States had to re-equip their B-2 bombers with bombs that can only be shot from outside of Iranian airspace. They don't have air superiority over Iran, even though the White House is saying that they do, because they're having to equip their jets and aircraft to launch bombs from outside Iranian airspace. So they can't even send their bombers inside the territory. So, again, a lot, when it comes to war, the first thing that dies is the truth. And this is going to sound crazy. Hang with me, guys. I know people probably won't like this, but this is going to sound crazy. I'm more inclined, which again, that doesn't mean I believe everything, but I'm more inclined to believe the reports coming out of Iran than I am from the United States and Israel. I'm just being honest with you, because the United States and Israel are notorious propagandists and liars. So, but again, that doesn't mean that I believe everything out of Iran either. I'm just saying in this situation, they appear on the face of things to be more truthful than the other countries. So it's a very upside down world right now. So we have this. It says Iran, the school and nearby military base struck multiple times. Satellite images reveal. So I did a little bit more looking around on this. I came across a little bit more information. Because I don't exactly know what all happened at the school. I kind of touched on it on Tuesday. But the Iran school and nearby military base struck multiple times. And that's the school. They just did the funeral for everybody that was in the building today. I believe they just did that today. But yeah, so one of the things right here, satellite images. Let me see if I can zoom this out to get a better spot for you guys. So if we look at this, this is where it's at. So the school is over here in the corner. This is the IRGC base. And this is what all that was hit in the initial strike by the United States. So do they have, I think they have it on here. Yeah. So if we look at this, this is the map of the initial strike from the United States. And it's down in this area over here. I don't remember if it's over here. I don't know if you guys can see it. I don't know if it's right here where my mouse is or right here, but it's somewhere right in here, the school. And the school is dead center in between two United States targeting spots. So what we're seeing so far is it's leaning towards the fact it was the United States that bombed the school and killed the children that were in there. Again, that's just, this is hard to collect on what actually happened, but just based upon the striking pattern, what's going on, the IRGC has actually been moving their base back over time away from the school. So in 2013, the school was within the base. 2016, it was on the outside of the base. And then 2022, it's not even connected to the base. So the IRGC base has actually been moving away from the school over time, which is kind of interesting. Which also led me to do a little bit more research on schools and military bases and whatnot, because I just wanted to get a better picture. Because we've seen the reports, and we know, it's confirmed, we know that groups like Hezbollah, wow, I tried to combine two of them, Hezbollah and Hamas, you know, those terrorist proxy groups, they build their bunkers and their command centers and armories and stuff. They literally put them underneath hospitals. They literally put them underneath schools. They literally put them underneath apartment complexes, orphanages, and shelters and stuff like that. They're notorious for putting their stuff literally underneath. They use those civilian infrastructures as meat shields. We do know that for sure. From what I'm seeing, and again, I don't know, I don't have all the facts or anything like that. This, from some of the stuff that I've seen, though, in Iran, they don't do that, at least from what I can find. Again, I'm not saying that they don't, but from what I can find, Iran doesn't do that in their territory, which is interesting because these terrorist groups are funded by Iran, but yet they do different things. So again, we don't know. They could very well do it. But something else that I noticed and I went and I looked for is, did you guys know that the United States military builds their bases and stuff next to schools, hospitals, orphanages, and homeless shelters? United States does the exact same thing. I didn't know that. That was one of those things I was ignorant on, and I went and I looked it up. And they do the same thing. They park their bases right next to high-risk civilian infrastructure as well. So pretty interesting that this is not just one particular group that does this, but this appears to be something that probably most militaries around the world do as well. So, pretty interesting. But yes, as far as this goes, it looks like, from what I can gather, it looks like it was the United States that bombed the school. So, interesting. Again, that just goes to show the governments don't care about their people. They don't care about their people. Let's see here. We have this as well. Netanyahu suspected that there were contacts between the United States and Iran that requested clarification from the White House. It says Israeli intelligence obtained information indicating that there may be contacts between elements of the Iranian regime and elements of the Trump administration regarding a ceasefire. Israel's concerned about the possibility that the U.S. will act to end the war before achieving all of its goals. The White House made it clear to Netanyahu no contacts are taking place with Iran. Why is this important? Well, we don't necessarily know what's happening on the backside of things, back channels and whatnot. And if this whole thing is orchestrated, we don't necessarily know. But on the forefront, we're getting people like Larijani coming out and saying we're not negotiating with the United States and we don't plan to. And then you got the White House, even though reports were coming out saying that they were talking with Iran and Iran was rejecting things. Apparently, we're getting told the other way around. But what I want to point out in regards to this is Netanyahu suspected that there were contacts between the U.S. and Iran. Israeli intelligence obtained information indicating that there may be contacts between the Iranian regime and the Trump administration. Israeli intelligence obtained information. Do you know what that means? That means Israel has tapped our government. They're spying on the U.S. government. That's how they got the information. So even allies spying on each other. It shouldn't be a shock, but still, it's just confirmation of what's going on right now. How about this? Trump administration wants to buy Ukrainian weapons to fight Iran. How many billions and billions and billions of dollars and weapons have we sent to Ukraine? And now the United States government wants to buy Ukrainian weapons to fight Iran. My word. It says the Pentagon is talking with Ukraine about purchasing drone interceptors to use in the Iran war. In response to a question about buying Ukraine's drones, Donald Trump told Reuters Thursday, "I'll take any assistance from any country." Does that sound like something you would say if you weren't running out of defensive weapons? If things weren't going to plan? No, this tells me that things aren't going to plan over in the Middle East. That they bit off more than they could chew. They are running on depleted countermeasures. And now he's seeking assistance from any country. How about this one? United States seeks $50 billion more for Iran campaign after spending $5 billion in 5 days. Yes, this war is costing the United States taxpayer $1 billion a day. And now, even though we have the largest military budget ever in the history of the United States, they're trying to get $50 billion more for the war against Iran. Doc sent Kristi Noem to Ukraine to negotiate. Well, she's looking for a job now, so I don't know if people saw that, but she got fired as a head of DHS. But yeah, U.S. seeks $50 billion more for Iran campaign. If we jump down, it says, according to the Associated Press, the United States Senate on Wednesday rejected a resolution to limit President Donald Trump's war powers. The War Powers Act failed, by the way. The Democratic-led measure would have barred U.S. forces from conducting military operations in conflict zones without congressional approval. Intended to restrict military action against Iran, it failed 47 to 53 after most Republican senators voted against it. With Congress effectively unable to check the Trump administration's military actions, analysts say operations against Iran will likely continue for the foreseeable future. Well, apparently they're planning for at least 100 days or through September. Let's find out what they say tomorrow. Maybe it'll extend to November. The Trump administration appears poised to accelerate large-scale additional spending. According to Reuters, Deputy Secretary of Defense Steve Feinberg, in preparing a supplemental budget, requests of approximately $50 billion to replenish depleted weapons stockpiles. The Patriot interceptors, the ones that have been failing righteously against the missiles, they burned through 5 years of production. The United States burned through 5 years of U.S. Patriot interceptors in 3 days. That's how bad it is. That's how bad it is. House Speaker Mike Johnson told Politico that Congress is awaiting a funding request from the White House. The U.S. is estimated to have incurred substantial costs from the operation's outset. Turkey's state-run Anadolu agency estimated costs of approximately $779 million in the first 24 hours after the U.S. began attacking Iran on April 28th. The Center for American Progress, a progressive U.S. think tank, analyzed on May 2nd that the initial operation costs likely exceeded $5 billion based on force deployment data. According to the Penn-Wharton budget model, a prolonged conflict with Iran could cost the U.S. economy up to $210 billion, with direct military costs alone estimated at up to $95 billion. Israel faced similar burdens. Israel's finance ministry warned that the airstrikes involving Iran could cause economic losses exceeding $2.93 billion per week. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. Let's see here. Doc, no, I'm fired or officially resigned. She was fired. She was literally fired in the middle of her regular press conference. She didn't even know it until she stepped off the podium. Yeah, she was actually fired. Because she got, I don't normally pay attention to the whole, Congress hearings and stuff that they do, but she got just bandsawed in the meeting, and that's apparently what caused the firing. She just got destroyed. So, let's see here. We the Free Alberta. That's funny. I'm sorry. It's funny. We the Free Alberta. I'm in Canada. I just did my taxes and I owe Ukraine $35,000. Oh, man. That was great. I needed a good laugh. Thank you for that. That was great. It's probably more like 45, though. You might want to double check your math. Bryce Hagan's Amazon was down at some point today. Wonder if it could have been Cybertech. No, Iran has been bombing Amazon data centers over in the Middle East. I was going to get to that on Tuesday. We just didn't have time. I'll talk about it on Saturday. But yeah, a bunch of Amazon AWS data centers have been annihilated in the Middle East. They've been targeted. So issues with Amazon and other websites that use AWS and all that stuff. That's why. So, yeah. I'll talk about it more on Saturday. Again, there's a bunch of stuff I wasn't able to get to. We also have this. We're in it. Democrats won't rule out giving Trump more money on the Middle East war. Democrats have to balance a desire to criticize Trump offensive in Iran with pressure to support funding to defend the nation now at war. So this is when you're going to see the uniparty. Again, we know both parties are controlled by the same entity, two wings, same bird. So no difference between the Democrats and the Republicans. Now is when you'll see that there's not going to be much theatrics on fighting. This is when they all come together and they're just going to start approving this stuff to go through. Similar to what we saw after 9/11 and all that. And so you're going to start seeing that some of the theater is going to be put on the back burner as they try and move stuff forward quickly because they're already in the situation. So I just wanted to put that out there as well. All right, let's get to the gas and the energy situation because this is important, and I don't want to spend too much time longer. So yeah, this is something that there's a lot of focus on the war itself. Everybody's kind of sticking to what's going on with the war, or if you're with the Christian side, they're doing the whole how it's connected to the Bible and stuff like that, which the scripture doesn't, in my opinion, doesn't mention this war at all in there, even though there's some people that say otherwise. Again, a lot of people like to just peg events to Bible stuff. But either way, not a lot of attention is being put on this. This is going to cause, or could, I don't want to say going to because we don't know, but this could cause some serious problems when it comes to gas and fertilizer and production and industry and food and all this stuff. So first up, Europe faces gas shortage scramble as Iran conflict tightens supply. As we know, Europe's already having fuel and energy problems. They've been having this stuff for a very long time. And now we have another issue where all of the Middle East, because of the Strait of Hormuz and the shutdown of all those refineries and production plants out there, Europe is facing a serious problem again, which is followed up by this. Now, this is again where we could start seeing the geopolitical game, specifically with Russia and Ukraine and taking possibly some other countries in the EU and the breaking up of NATO. This is where all this stuff could take place. This is Russia may halt gas supplies to Europe amid Iran energy spike, Putin says. If Russia shuts it off, Europe is in serious trouble. If you think Europe is bad now, if Russia stops, you're talking about a major squeeze on Europe. And again, this could be the opportunity for Russia to start making their actual move, which we know is very much possible, especially since Trump and Putin appear to be working hand in hand when it comes to these decisions. Russia could halt gas supplies to Europe right now amid a spike of energy prices triggered by the Iran crisis. President Vladimir Putin warned on Wednesday, linking the possible decision to the European Union wanting to ban purchases of Russian gas and liquefied natural gas. Judith Maynard, gas went up 50 cents. Oh, be thankful. Went up $1 over here. And it's only Thursday. So this is something to keep an eye on. I will make sure that I'm keeping a hawk eye on this situation with the Russian gas to Europe. We also had this Indian refiner, MRPL, suspends fuel exports as Iran conflict hits crude supply. India's Mangalore refinery and petrochemicals has suspended fuel exports due to the Middle East conflict that disrupted crude flows from the Gulf, two sources familiar have said. The company has declared force majeure on all upcoming gasoline export cargoes for March and April. So they're already planning for April that they're not going to deliver. So Indian chemicals and petro has halted. Indian refiners buying prompt Russian oil as Iran war hits supplies. So now India is starting to rely on Russia for gas. Man, Putin's going to be making a lot of money via the gas because of this. Thanks, Trump. Again, we know Trump's connected to Russia, and that history goes back to the 80s. Indian refiners are buying millions of barrels of prompt Russian crude cargoes as South Asian nations seek to navigate an oil supply crunch triggered by the Middle East conflict. So now we got that going on. How about this? India urea producers trim output as Iran war disrupts LNG flows. Fertilizer. Pay attention to fertilizer. Fertilizer is so important for feed and food, gas, bombs, tech. They all use fertilizer. Fertilizer manufacturers in India are beginning to cut output after Qatari supplies of liquefied natural gas, the key to feedstock, were suspended due to hostilities in the Middle East. So, India, it's a massive producer of fertilizer, halted. How about this one? China halts fuel exports amid global market squeeze. China has told energy companies to suspend new fuel exports contracts and try to cancel already arranged fuel shipments abroad as global fuel market tightens amid the Middle Eastern war that has effectively frozen most traffic through one of the world's biggest oil and fuel choke points. So now we got that situation. How about this one? Japanese refiners seek government crude release amid Hormuz closure. So now Japan are saying we already need to open up the reserves, the oil reserves. And one of the councilmen at the Japan government came out and said, we've only got 9 days in storage. And Japanese refiners are now saying we need to open it up because they're so low. Keep in mind, Japan gets 90% of their oil through the Strait of Hormuz. And that's stopped. That's bad. Japanese oil refiners are asking the government to release crude from the nation's strategic petroleum reserves as the Middle East crisis worsens. We got this one. South Korea's YNCC declares force majeure amid Middle East crisis. This is the repercussion of what's going on in the Middle East. South Korea's NCC Co. has declared a force majeure in the Middle East. Crisis hits delivery of naphtha feedstock, the company said in a note to clients on Wednesday. That means South Korea is, the YNCC is no longer exporting crude oil. Then we have this. This is Eric Nuttall. He is a guy that's heavily involved when it comes to energy markets and stuff like that. He's pretty well known. He's somebody who has a lot of credit when it comes to his work. And he put out a warning today. This is, we are experiencing the largest loss of oil supplies in history, 3 times bigger than the 1973 Arab oil embargo. For those who were alive during the 70s, you know exactly what that looked like, with lines and odd days, even days, fuel pumps running out of gas. All of that. The level of complacency to me is staggering. Prior playbooks do not apply. Now, we don't necessarily know if it's going to get to that level of things, but he's saying, as of right now, based on the trends of what's happening, this is worse than what happened in the 70s. So, this is interesting. There's a lot to pay attention to, a lot of things happening. But this oil situation, this is not good. This is not good. All right, let's see if I can get a few of these questions and then we'll end it up here. Just kind of scrolling through, see what I missed here. Jellyfish, we are trillions in debt, but what's another billion here and there? Yeah, well, that's how they seem to operate, right? My question is, every single country in the world is in debt. Who are they in debt to? For those who win tinfoil hats, you know exactly who that is. Let's see here. Doc, I'm still working through my toilet paper from the COVID lockdown. Hang on to that toilet paper. We might have another toilet paper issue here. Let's see here. Full of hope. It's terrible. Europe cannot last much longer. Yeah, with the energy stuff. Yeah, it's going to get worse from here on out too. Again, I think this has to do with this, putting a stranglehold on Europe so they can start knocking it down at the studs. I think that's what's going on. Again, I still lean in the direction. I'm not going to say it's for sure or not, but I still lean in the direction that I think Rome 2.0 is going to go back to the eastern leg of the Roman Empire, not the western. So that's not going to be Europe. I think it's going to go back over into like the Turkey region over there. So we'll see though. Because I always look at it this way. Some people ask, why do I keep going back to, why do you think Babylon is Babylon? And why do you think it'll be, the Rome 2.0 will be on the eastern side? And why do you keep going back to that type of stuff? Because I always look at it this way. And this is the simplest way that I can explain it. Is if you're looking at a timeline of the 70 weeks, we've had the 69 weeks happen. And then we have the church age here. And then we know that the 70th week is going to happen. We had the Old Testament, and then we got the church age where everything changed. And then we know when the 70th week happens, when it goes back to the day of the Lord, it's going to go Old Testament again. And so it's one of those things where it's like, if everything was based Old Testament for the first 69 weeks, wouldn't it make sense that the 70th week, the coming future prophecy, the 7 years, wouldn't that make sense? That it would go back Old Testament and things would kind of go back to where they were during the first 69 weeks. See, that's how I look at it. Because when it's all said and done, when all this stuff is done, if you want to look at the timeline, you can basically look at the first 69 weeks, and then you just take the church age and you can remove it, and then you just slide that 70th week back over there because that's all one thing. So that's how I get to that conclusion. Maybe I'm off. I don't know. But again, I like to look outside the box when it comes to that stuff. And that's why I look at it that way. Just something to gnaw on there. Just kind of think about that. So that's why I look at things in perspective like that. Country darling question. If Israel is so embedded in Iran, why didn't they disable the bombs rockets under the mountains? Good question, darling. That's one that I don't have an answer for, but it is a question that I think to myself quite often. I don't know. Lori S., could this be a push towards the 10 kingdoms? I don't think this has anything to do with the war itself. I don't think has anything to do with the kingdoms. Geopolitical shifts in the future because of it, maybe. But this war doesn't fit anything to do with 10 kingdoms. Excuse me. Let's see here. Hey, Patter's here. Good to see you, Patter. I thought I heard the pitter-patter of Patter. Good to see you. Glad you're here. Doc, any updates on shipping? Still closed. That strait is still closed. Even though Iran is saying it's not closed, they just blew up another ship last night. So it's closed. You'll see an occasional one or two try and sneak their way through, which some do. If they happen to be a part of like China or there's another country, I can't remember who it was. They managed to sneak a ship or two every once in a while, but for the most part, it's still closed. Full of hope, glad for the wood burning stove. Oh yeah, analog fire burn. That's how it goes. Full of hope, fertilizer top commodity through the strait. Yes, it is, and fertilizer affects pretty much everything everywhere. So involved with everyday life, it's crazy. Wheat is another one through the strait as well. Wheat is a huge commodity through the strait. Let's see here. Terry Petty, Putin probably answers to the same controllers running this whole gambit. Oh yeah, he's just another puppet too. But we know that Putin and Trump are basically joined at the hip, and they're both puppets, so they don't have control of anything. Although I think these guys do go off and do their own things every once in a while and have to be wrangled in, which I see Trump doing a lot more lately, so I'm curious if he's going to be removed from position soon, if you catch my drift. Makes me wonder. Ron Plemons, I remember the odd even gas lines from the 70s. Yeah, well, they're saying it's a possibility that could be coming back. We'll see. Big ragu could be a boom to the electric car sellers. Well, the only problem with that is, first of all, the materials to make said electric cars. The only people that has that is China, for the most part. And number two, what are you going to use to power the electric grid to charge that stuff? And military vehicles don't run on electricity either. They tried that and it failed, and they immediately stopped doing it. So again, everything, it's a chain for a reason. It's a food chain for a reason when it comes to that stuff. So we'll see. Somebody's putting some CCR lyrics in the chat. That's one way of looking at it. It was interesting. The IDF put out a video, a promotional video of their jets going to Iran to bomb things, and they put it under Fortunate Son by CCR. If anybody knows what the song Fortunate Son is, the one that's mainly used in like Vietnam movies and stuff like that, it's an anti-war song. It's an anti-draft song, and they actually use that. They don't even know what that song's about. Interesting. Let's see here. Doodle toot. Your name gets me every time. I'm a child. It's just a great name. Don't ever change that name. Doodle toot. That's interesting. I've never thought of it that way before. I can see. Get about the thing. Yeah. Marky Mark. Gap theory. That's not the gap theory. Gap theory is how much time between the rapture and the beginning of this 70th week. This is just putting together the 70 weeks, even though there's a different age between them. That's all. Let's see here. Tina, God has has a plan, and all the puzzle pieces will eventually fit into place. Yeah. Yep. As we know, all of this stuff has already happened for God, so it's not catching him off guard. The Hylers question, any word on death toll for American soldiers? Nope, they will not release it. They're still claiming that there's only 6 American soldiers that have been killed. I don't buy that for a second. So they're not telling anybody on that. Ron Clemens question, did the U.S. say they would cover any losses for ships attached to the strait? Trump came out and said that he was going to start offering, based on U.S. tax dollars, he was going to start putting insurance on the ships to cross the strait. The only problem with that is, 1, he has to get approval for that. 2, that's not going to stop Iran from blowing up ships as they go through. 3, companies have to agree to that because they're still on the hook for all the cargo and stuff, that if it goes missing or if people die, they're still on the hook for that. So that's not going to work. And 4, it would take at least a month for it to kick in. So he offered it, but it's a terrible idea. Plus, it would be the U.S. taxpayers that would be paying for all of that if ships start going down. So yeah, you would be on the hook for it. Let's see here. The Hylers question, I heard that the Gulf states import food and water through the Strait of Hormuz. Can you confirm? Oh, yeah. I think it's Saudi or no, UAE. One of those Gulf states. They all rely on importing food. And that's not getting through. So now we have a serious problem with not enough food getting to the Gulf states. But there's one that most, like 90-something% of their food for the Gulf state is imported. And that has drastically reduced. So now this becomes a humanitarian crisis for all the Gulf states over there. So, Julie H. It's Ren J. O. Hello. Haven't seen you in a while. Good to see you. Let's see. PT, let's not put theories like that in the chat, please. Radar goes along well. Send Baron. Yeah, you know, if they do open up a draft, you know whose son is not getting drafted. Let's see here. All right, guys. Looks like that's about it. If I missed a question, sorry, I can't get to them all, but I just kind of scroll through and see them. But yeah, hopefully that gives you guys a little bit more information, up to date information on what's happening over there. Again, I'm trying my best to make sure that if I'm putting anything out, I'm confirming it first, making sure that it's all legit. Too legit to quit, as MC Hammer would say. Anyways, but yeah, so hopefully that helps you guys stay up to date on what's going on. So appreciate you guys. And yeah, this went a little bit longer than I was planning, but there's a lot of stuff to talk about. So, all right, guys, I am going to go ahead and exit stage left. And yeah, hopefully you guys have a good one, and I'll see you guys on Saturday. So catch you guys later. See ya.